For centuries, Freemasonry has been wrapped in mystery, right? It's fueled countless conspiracy theories, books, you name it. But what actually is it? It's got to be one of the most misunderstood organizations in the world. So today, we're going to peel back the curtain and separate the facts from all that fiction.
So what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it some kind of shadowy religion secretly pulling the strings of global power? A secret business network for the elite? Or, is it just a social club with some funny handshakes? These are the popular theories, and we're about to unpack exactly what's true and what's not.
To really get to the heart of what this fraternity is all about, we've got to cut through a whole lot of fog.
And the best way to do that is actually to work backward. We can figure out what it is by first understanding all the things it isn't.
So let's kick things off with the biggest one, the most common misconception out there. This idea that Freemasonry is a religion, or maybe some kind of weird substitute for one.
Right here, when you put them side by side, the differences become crystal clear. A religion, its main goal is salvation, right? Well, for Freemasonry, it's character development. A religion might require you to follow a really specific creed, but Freemasonry just asks for a general belief in a supreme being. And this last one is huge. Theological debate is the lifeblood of many faiths, but inside a Masonic lodge, it's strictly forbidden. That's to make sure everyone stays in harmony.
So how do they pull off that harmony? They do it with this concept, the great architect of the universe. Now, this is not some Masonic god. Think of it as a neutral, symbolic placeholder. It lets a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim all be in the same room, each thinking about their own idea of God, without ever getting into an argument about whose is right. It's a tool for unity, not a specific belief system.
Okay, so we've established it's not a religion, but what about the other thing? Isn't it just a social club, kind of like the Rotary, or maybe a place to do some business networking? Well, that's not quite right either.
And here's the absolute core difference. A service club's focus is on the outside. It's about doing good out in the community through projects and fundraising. A Masonic lodge, on the other hand, its focus is internal. It's all about helping its members become better people, on being good. The work is pointed inwards, at improving the individual.
Think of it this way, like a university model. A university teaches you engineering, right? But it doesn't actually go out and build the bridges itself. In the same way, a Masonic lodge teaches the principles of morality and character, but it's totally up to the individual member, the graduate, so to speak, to take those lessons and apply them in their own life.
And even Masons themselves worry about this. There are thinkers within the fraternity who warn that when lodges get too focused on the social stuff, the fish fries, the pancake breakfasts, they're in danger of losing sight of their real serious purpose, which is the work of self-improvement. And what about that whole secret handshake to get ahead in business? Well, I hate to break it to the conspiracy theorists, but it's explicitly forbidden. When you join, you have to declare you're not doing it for mercenary motives. Using the fraternity for your own personal or financial gain is actually a really serious violation of everything they stand for.
Okay, so let's recap where we are. We've figured out it is not a religion.
And because its focus is so internal, on building character, it's not really a service club or a business network either.
Which brings us right back to the million-dollar question. If we strip away all of these misconceptions, what's actually left? What is it?
When you get right down to it, Freemasonry is, at its heart, a school for character. It's a system, you could almost call it a science, that's designed for one single purpose, to help a person build a better version of themselves.
And the way it does this is through something called speculative masonry. So the fraternity grew out of the old guilds of actual working stonemasons. We're talking about the guys who physically built the great cathedrals in Europe. Speculative masons take the tools those builders used, the square, the compasses, the gavel, and they use them as symbols for building a better life.
But how does that actually work in the real world? I mean, it sounds a little abstract, right? Well, it's all about translating these ancient symbols into a modern code for living, a sort of lifestyle.
Let me give you some examples. Take the 24-inch gauge. To you and me, it's a ruler. To a Mason, it's a symbol for time management, a reminder to divide your day between work, rest, and helping people. Or the compasses. For drawing circles, they become a symbol for keeping your passions and desires within reasonable limits. Every single tool is a practical reminder for how to live your day.
Okay, but what about all the secrecy? This is probably the most important distinction to make. A secret society hides its very existence. But Masonic lodges, they're often listed right in the phone book. Members are totally free to tell people they belong, and their mission, making good men better, is completely public. So Freemasonry is much more accurately called a society with secrets. The only things they really keep private are their specific rituals and the unique ways of recognizing each other.
And that leads us to a quote that just perfectly sums up this entire philosophy. The point isn't to be some giant organization that directly changes the world. The point is to improve the individual members, who then go out into the world and through their own improved actions make it a better place.
So when you boil it all down, Freemasonry is really built on this one powerful belief, that real, lasting change in society starts with personal change. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In a world that's so obsessed with fixing big systems, what could we all accomplish if more of us just focused on fixing ourselves first?